Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviriyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God protect both teacher and student. May He nourish us together. May we work together with great energy. May our studies be enlightening. May there be no hate among us. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We spoke about last week. Oh, there's a long message. I didn't see this before. Can I quickly read some message that I saw in our group? Okay.
Yes, Acharya ji.
So we got a material for today's talk. I believe there is a very good insight by Sukrut. You present? Yeah, you are present. Good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you found time to do some kind of upasana, some kind of contemplation on this. But this really opens up further dialogue. If all agree, we can. How many of you read his comment or his insight? Nice, good, good. So we can all pitch in our understanding about the subject. So let me start with Anulata. What do you think about his message that he put up?
I mean, I do agree his opinion, but I'm still, I mean, what I think happiness, since it is a state of mind, and we say that it has to flow naturally, and we are, I mean, since we are humans, हमारे अंदर emotions both negative, positive, एक साथ आते हैं. So the thing is that we are still in a process to learn to control the negative emotions. And for me, still happiness, I have to deliberately be in that position, because I am not in a position ki happiness mere liye inside hai abhi bhi. There are some time when I am in a state where I have to deliberately tell my conscience that no, I shouldn't be in this state, and I have to look beyond it. So, sir, right now I haven't achieved what Mr. Sukrut has said, but yes, I do agree with his view. I do agree. I mean, that is the real happiness, but I haven't achieved that state.
Good. At least you have some opinion of your own, which is good. There is no judgment here. There is nothing to decide who is right and who is not right. We don't do that. It's just that we are able to find time to think about this point or this subject or this comment and look within ourselves and see where we stand. Where do we stand? Do we find happiness according to his first point, in sense gratification or in serving? In serving, it probably pampers your ego, is what his point, which I agree. Is that what happens to us? Is something that all of us have to think about it. Whatever, you have certain desires and those desires materialize, does that give you happiness? And is that happiness, are you happy with that happiness? Or it is just for some time and then again you have a new desire and therefore your happiness changes from one to other. So, good point. Who else? Kapilji.
Garaji, yes, very insightful write-up by Sukrut, and he's broadly bought it into consumption and contribution. One is self-gratifying, the other is satisfying the ego, which really comes across very strongly as happiness at all is at best a fleeting experience as yet. Pursuit for happiness, permanent happiness is always there. I guess that's an endless cycle, and which shall continue. But yes, it's very interesting read. Also,
anybody else
talking about the Advait and Dvait, this thing.
Anyone else has anything to say about it? There are two of you who are invisible. I don't get to see these two who are. One is Kalpana and the other one is Dinesh. If you are technically not possible, it's okay, but otherwise, please join us full-heartedly with your camera on. So, for me, there are few things that I like to take it further from what I read. I do not buy it totally, and so it has a potential to talk further on this. So, if you all wish, we can. I can talk about it further, unless somebody has any other suggestion, any other subject. So, let me read once again, and probably you can join me. It says, what is happiness? Here, some thoughts on the, okay, first thing is, I think happiness we commonly know broadly comes from sense gratification and contribution, which is satisfaction of ego. Yes, fair enough. This is basically correct. In both cases, consciousness is paramount, because in its absence, event will happen, but feeling will be lost. And this is something I need explanation. What exactly you mean by two words that I want to catch on. One, which you, consciousness is paramount. One. Second thing, event will happen, but feeling will be lost. What does it mean?
Well, I meant that when we eat good food, but if we are not there in the present moment, then that activity loses the effect. We've exposed ourselves to something good, but our mind was lost in past or future or worries, and that's where that's what I was referring to, the consciousness. That if we are conscious of what is happening, then we can probably experience the joy.
So here is the explanation. I expected this explanation. Please be watching out on this subtle difference. Being conscious is one thing, and consciousness is completely other thing.
Okay.
So consciousness does not need to be paramount. Okay. So probably it's just the words, but we have to clarity is always important. So consciousness
to, present moment awareness.
Yes. So being conscious is probably the right pointer, right words. Being conscious is right. I agree. Remember, fundamentally, consciousness, and when we speak about consciousness at our level, Dehatma or Jivatma is what we're talking about. We are not talking about the pure consciousness. When we say pure consciousness, is the spirit, is the Atma. We are there, no doubt about it. We are spirit, we are Atma, but it is tinted with body-mind intelligence. Okay, so therefore, it is shadowed, it is enveloped, it is covered up with this, our wrong identity with our body-mind intelligence. So that's the clarification I was seeking, that it is being conscious because it is absence, event will happen, but the feeling will be lost. I agree. That's when you are not conscious, you are not in that moment, you are not present in that moment. Then event can happen, but you will have no feeling about it. I agree, but not consciousness. So please mark that. Second, the path of bhakti and meditation aim at nurturing pure consciousness without any trigger, cause and effect. Again, what does it mean, pure consciousness without any trigger?
So I was referring to the experience of, joy that the meditation or bhakti creates. When we talk about the usual commonly happiness, that requires some trigger. I need to have good food or a good sight or feel good. But in the meditation part, we're removing all the external stimuli and then experiencing the joy within.
So once again, here again, is remember, pure consciousness, when you use the word, your understanding should be clear that you are talking about the Atma, the all-knowing, eternal, omnipresent. That's part of it, the spirit.
Right.
We are this. None of this can affect it, or nothing can bind it, or nothing can cover it. So being conscious is probably the right way to talk about. Agree.
Right.
Bhakti or love and meditation are complementary to each other and nourishes one another, just like fragrance. Okay. It needs some discussion, but I agree. In principle, you are right. It moves from expression. Here, I think waves wherein moves from unity of all to separation. Just like our breath. During the moment of holding the breath, I experience peace, which is indeed momentary, since it is followed by inhalation expression. Many meditation practices talk about increasing this moment of peace, which ultimately leads to samadhi. Watch out. Where there is absence of breath. There is no absence of breath in samadhi. Breath is what you need to sustain your body. In samadhi, you do have body. You may not have awareness of your body in samadhi. None of us have experienced it. We can only talk about it based on what we hear, what we read. Be clear. Samadhi is the state beyond discrimination, beyond explanation, beyond any, let's say, you cannot describe, because none of us have experienced it. We can only talk based on the experiences of other people. And those who have mentioned it are either awakened soul who are able to experience and describe, or they are pretending. Because Samadhi is the state where you have no awareness of your body and mind and intelligence, because you are in alignment with the supreme cosmic energy or cosmic intelligence, or whatever name you want to call it. Yeah. So in such state, you lose the awareness of your thoughts, your meditations, your experiences, your surroundings, your everything with your body. You are pure energy and in union with the cosmic energy. That's Samadhi. Those who are able to recall it, the experiences, and describe it, are either the masters who have that power, or they have been granted the power, or they are describing not based on Samadhi, but based on the state called Turiya, the fourth state. We spoke about it. So here, your explanation or your understanding is correct if you are talking about the fourth state of consciousness, which is Turiya. In state of Turiya, you are fully aware of your body, you're fully aware of your breath, yes, but you have thought are not bothering you or disturbing. That means there is no cluttering of thoughts, cluttering of mind. You are then totally focused on one thought of divinity. So you are in alignment with the cosmic energy through your alignment of your mind. You do need a mind, you do have a mind, but you are in position to discipline your mind not to disturb you with other thoughts, but be focused on that mind, a thought of higher consciousness or higher energy, supreme energy. That's Turiya. Even in Turiya, you have the breathing happening. Yeah, without breathing, your body does not sustain. It's not surviving. So inhalation and exhalation, and the gap between inhalation and exhalation gives you feeling of peace, which is true. And that gap you may be able to increase, which is wonderful. But even if you cannot increase the gap, but witness or be aware of that gap, and that gap of momentary gap is the subtle touching point of Turiya. You have not in the state of Turiya, but you are trying to touch upon it. And that's the gap. And this is why gap between inhalation and exhalation, when you hold the breath. And that's why I mentioned that you bring your attention to this point or that point. Point is not important, but it is alignment. It is the balance of your being. So be aware of that balance, be aware of that point, and that gives you feeling of peace. Because at that gap, you are doing nothing. You're remaining being. You're doing nothing, including breathing. Yeah, with your body, there are no actions. With your mind, there are no thoughts. The buddhi is at rest. And in the gap between inhalation and exhalation, however momentary it is, you are able to feel the peace because there are no doing. You are not the doer. And that's why when you are not the doer, there is a grace, there is a feeling of completeness, the feeling of, fulfillment. That's peace. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, what else? In these moments of dhyana, that we can find pure consciousness. You don't really have to find it. You realize that you are that consciousness. If you are in that dhyana, in that peace. Yeah. You move steps down away that we can feel the dualism. Yes, the journey is at this point, at this level, we live in dualism. Yeah, we live, all of us, we have to accept and be honest about ourselves. We can talk about non-dual or Advaita, but practically we do have the body-mind consciousness. We all live in it. It is a journey from that BMI awareness to the point that allows BMI to sustain, to allow BMI to perform. That energy, that power, and that's consciousness. And that is omnipresent and in the eternal, which is the feeling of oneness. Remember, the Upanishad speaks about Aham Brahmasmi or Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. All these statements, which are great statements, Mahavakyas, it is only applicable when you have ascended, when you have transcended from Jivatma to higher Paramatma or Mahatma level at least. Until then, we are at this Jivatma level. We can seek the knowledge, we can seek the reality, but it is only seeking, which is doing. And therefore, we do not have that knowledge as a personal experience. All that knowledge is based on other experiences of other masters, not personal. Though it is a fact, but it is not a fact for you and me. The fact for you and me only when we realize it. Yeah, that's important. So till you realize it, this body is real, this thinking is real, mind is real, this intelligence or buddhi is real. And I am who am I, and you are who you are. There is duality. From that point of duality, you have to grow, you have to evolve to realize that if I'm not this body, if I'm not this mind, if I'm not this intelligence, and I am pure consciousness, and if that is the pure consciousness is in you and everyone else, every being, whether it's human being or planets or animals or whatever, if it is so, then what's the difference? There is no difference, because what is in that little ant that you see walking around, that ant has the same consciousness, same spirit as you have. There is no size. The ant size, physical size is so small, but it has the same power or same energy that you and I have. And therefore, there is no duality. And that's the knowledge that we are seeking. That's the realization we are seeking. And we are on the path to realize that. Until we realize the duality exists. And that's why in Hindu, there are different school of thoughts. Two thoughts are prominent: Samkhya philosophy, and non-duality, Advaita Vedanta. Samkhya philosophy believes that there is a creator and there is a creation. You cannot deny it. At our level, all that we persist, all that we perceive is the creation, and it has the physical form. And therefore, there must be a creator who brought this about. And this is the rishis, Kapila Rishi, who was a great rishi who brought this philosophy of Samkhya, that there is a duality, creation and creator. Later on, other rishis thought on it, and they came about that there is ultimately no duality. Ultimately, it is only one. In the creation, it is the same consciousness or energy, and the creator has the same Brahman has the same energy, and therefore it is one and non-dual. So until we experience it, we still live with the philosophy of duality, because we still cannot get rid of thought of doership. Until you are so totally living in a present moment and being aware all the time, which is a meditative state, that I am not the doer. I'm only a performer. I only perform my role. And therefore, it is the assignment that I am fulfilling. I have taken this body, and in this body, I have certain role to play, and that's what I'm doing. Ultimately, I am that supreme energy, the consciousness. When you are dwelling upon that thought all the time, reaffirming all the time, probably time comes when you are convinced about it. Nisargadatta Maharaj is the example. He continued doing what he was doing, but he remained in the dwelling on the thought, I am that. That's enough. You continue your life as you are doing, but you will have no attachment, because you know for fact that you are something that you do not need to do anything. And that's consciousness. And so happiness is, I'm talking about the ultimate happiness. Ultimate may not be the right word, but unlimited or permanent happiness only comes in that understanding that I am that. I am that consciousness. And that consciousness allows my body and mind to perform. And with my body, through my sense organs, I am able to achieve what my mind is deserving or desiring. And through my sense organs, I am able to satisfy my desires. And that gives me happiness. That is the attitude until you remain in the consciousness of body, mind, intelligence, BMI. And that's why, again, the same subject that I have been saying, the knowledge, what we are talking about, clarity on the knowledge, which is what the satsang is, that you have certain thoughts, I have certain thoughts, other have certain thoughts. The mixture and the contemplation on those thoughts gives you clarity. And that process of getting clarity takes time. It may not happen right there. You have to go on pursuing the subject of and contemplating and arguments and discussions with people like-minded who could share. After you have clarity, the process of purity must start. Until the purity of body, mind, and thought or intelligence is not undertaken, you do not have sufficient purity, you may not get the wisdom of knowing that you are the consciousness. It could be a superfluous when you say, I am that supreme consciousness, which is very, very important. Knowledge, clarity, purity, and then wisdom. Wisdom will be your wisdom, not the wisdom that you gain from others. So one of my friend who is also like-minded, and when we have this kind of satsang, I remember he all the time emphasized, during this lifetime, our only job as a spiritual being is to gain the clarity, achieve the purity. Now, purity starts with your body, physical level, and your mind and intelligence. Your mind is your thinking, your thoughts, and intelligence is the buddhi, of purity of your discrimination, judgment. Yeah, you come to a conclusion that so-and-so is good and so-and-so is not good. And that judgment, and that decision is the job of your buddhi. You come to that conclusion based on your thoughts, which is your activity of your mind. And so the purity of body, mind, and buddhi is extremely important. And it takes maybe one lifetime, could take much more than one lifetime. But that process must begin, must begin. And all of us have something to work upon personally, our own self. If we identify our own weakness, all of us have weakness, physical, mental, yeah. We all are mind conditioned, and we have to identify that and work upon it, work on clarity and purity. I have recognized two weakness of mine, and it's been more than 12 years that I'm working on the purity on those two aspects. It is time, we have to work upon it. And it's something, a personal journey. We all have to first get clarity, gain the knowledge, clarity that, for example, the thought of duality or thought of non-duality, after contemplation, you realize that ultimately it's oneness. When you come to that clarity of oneness, then the start journey of purity. What is purity? Purity of your thoughts. If you continue thinking of, if somebody said something which is not in line with your thought, you still have to admire that. You still have to accept that and admire it without any judgment. And that's challenge. That's a challenge. You say something which you are convinced about, and someone challenges you on that. Yeah, it is not easy for you to accept and admire. You understand what I'm saying? If I have certain belief, certain clarity, which I have gained, and there is someone who challenges that clarity, that point may be very correct, very right. But for me, it is challenging. Why? Because I'm convinced about it. My ego will not permit to accept that and admire that. So accepting and admiring the thoughts or challenges is something that is not easy. And that leads you to purity. I'm sure all of you have read Bhagavad Gita or some knowledge on Bhagavad Gita. It's very clear. First 6 chapters talks about Karma Yoga. Yeah? First 6 chapters is all about Karma Yoga. Do your best. Do not expect result. If result comes to you or reward comes to you, accept that as a prasad, as offering from the God. Yeah. So no attachment, continue your service, continue your life as a karma yogi. Second 6 chapters, between 7 to 14, yeah, is talking about bhakti yoga, the love, the devotion. Yeah, the importance of developing the attitude of surrender, gratitude, love, bhakti mark. And the last 6 chapters talks about Jnana Yoga or Raj Yoga. Actually, Raj Yoga comes absolutely at the last chapter, but for last 6 chapters talks about Jnana Yoga. Yeah? That Jnana Yoga is nothing but purification of your buddhi. So Karma Yoga deals with your doing, which is your physical form, your body. second part of 6 chapters, which is Bhakti Yoga, which is love, which is your mental faculty. Yeah. And the last 6 chapter is Jnana Yoga, which is your buddhi, that you come to a term, you come to a realization, better, higher knowledge. Who am I? What am I? What is Brahman? Who is the creator? When you gain the knowledge on that through your Jnana Yoga, it's the part of your buddhi, your power of being equipoise. Being equipoise means no judgment. Buddhi does not use its faculty to decide what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is not good, but accept everything as it is. That's Jnana Yoga. And finally, Raj Yoga, which is Dharana Dhyana, and Samadhi may happen. So if you study the Gita and contemplate on it, all answers are there. All philosophy is there. Yeah. Bhakti Yoga, as you mentioned in your comment, the love and Jnana Yoga are ultimately the same. Yeah, all three, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, is 3 ways to realization. And realization is one. Realization is only one, whether through Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga. But it is, imagine that you go on doing your Karma Yoga without devotion and without love, which means without bhakti. Then you are transcending from the body level, from gross level. That's it. Because you are just doing without any attachment. Yeah, the first 6 chapter talks about Karma Yoga, and which you are performing very well. If you are in such case, you have transcended the gross level. But if there is no Bhakti Yoga or there is no love, it does not transcend further. And therefore, 6 chapters, next 6 chapters talks about adopting attitude of gratitude and surrender and love towards the divinity and everything else, the entire creation. Until then, there is a duality. In bhakti, it's only possible when there is a duality, because you are still doing bhakti to someone or for somebody, whether it is deity, guru, God, whatever. So there is duality, but it's necessary in order to transcend from the gross level to the mental level. Yeah, the mentally you have given complete surrender, attitude of gratitude and love. But that also is not enough. If you go on doing kirtans and bhajans and worshipping in temple without knowing that it is all that is you, there's nobody else. The idol in the temple made of wood or stone has the same energy as the energy within you. That is Jnana Yoga, the last 6 chapters. And that's the culmination of your spiritual knowledge. From Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga to Jnana Yoga. And after that comes the state of Raj Yoga, where you are in meditation, where you have transcended all 3 levels of Karma, Bhakti, and Jnana Yoga, and you remain pure being. You identify yourself as that spirit, that Atma, that Brahman. That's Raj Yoga. So the happiness has different journey levels of journey. Yeah. Each one is right in its own manner. But if you are seeking some happiness, in that case, I would not use the word happiness. I would use the word fulfillment. if you are seeking the fulfillment comes only and only when you have gone through all three stages of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Till the time you do get satisfaction or joy or happiness, which is limited, which is temporary. So when we realize that that energy, that power, that spirit is what we are and what everything else, then happiness is within you. Any more thought? If we are doing this every Tuesday, we try to understand the knowledge that we are seeking. We are still seeking. And that is the journey. We continue seeking. And therefore, we have to be a good seeker. Finally, the seeking will stop. Either you get fed up of it and you say there is nothing to do, it's boring, it will stop. Or you realize that there is nothing to seek. I am that peaceful silence, that blissful, joyful Sat Chit Anand. I am that consciousness. So in either case, seeking must stop. And being remains.
Acharyaji, you had mentioned identify your weaknesses and work on it. Now it's a matter of great relief that to know that you've been working on your weaknesses for the last 11 years. So if I've been at it at 20, so I'm not so bad. But can you explain what is what do I need to do?
I do not know what you need to do, but I can tell you what I did.
Yeah, so that's exactly. Sorry, rephrase it. How are you working on it? Is what I.
When I was a young boy, not that I'm old now, but when I was still younger, my mother used to say I was short-tempered. Not that I used to scream, shout, or hit anybody, but I would sort of lock up myself and be in my room and not talk to anybody. And, anger stays with me and not expressed. But there is amount of anger, yeah. And so my first exposure to meditation, long time ago when it happened, the first thing I was told is to realize that anger is our biggest enemy. Yeah, no other thing is more harmful than your own anger. So we have different vices, fear, greed, lust, anger. These are the weakness that we all possess, we all have as human. Yeah. We all have a fear, we all have an ego, we all have anger, greed, lust. The first aspect that I identify was the anger. That yes, anger is something that is not okay. And so I started working on it, and my very first teacher or guru was obliged me in explaining and give me the manners in what I should do. And I'm happy to say that by and large, I have overcome that weakness. Nothing can make me angry now. Nothing. No matter what happens, I do not lose my temper. So that is it. Now, how did that happen? It happened only this way, one statement that convinced me: do not expect, but accept. The anger comes only when certain things are expected by you and it does not materialize. You feel angry, which is normal, most of us. But when you realize that you are expecting does not mean it must happen. When you come to that conclusion, which is a journey, and you accept it, whatever I got, whatever happened, I accept it. Anger does not survive. Yes, please, Piyush ji.
जी प्रणाम। एक तो मेरा गले की प्रॉब्लम है और एक दूसरी इंग्लिश की प्रॉब्लम है कि इंग्लिश में से मैं थोड़ा बहुत जो मुझे मिलता है वो मुझे प्राप्त है, वो पर्याप्त है। और यही बात आपकी हैप्पीनेस के लिए भी मुझे आप लोगों ने सिखाया है, आप लोगों से मतलब जितना हम लोगों ने अब तक किया है, एक्सेप्ट द थिंग्स विच दे आर, जो प्राप्त है वो पर्याप्त है, ये हमने अभी तक सीखा है और मानते हैं। लेकिन एक्चुअल जब काम करते हैं ना इस पर, तो नहीं हो पाता और वहीं पर हैप्पीनेस गायब हो जाती है। वहीं पर ये बाकी चीजें जो आपने बताई, कई सारी अंग्रेजी के जो नाम है, वो लस्ट, एंगर और फलाना ठिकाना बहुत सारा, वो घुस जाता है। तो इंटेलिजेंट एंड माइंड दोनों का असंतुलन हो जाता है। ये दोनों मिल जाएं, यदि माइंड एंड इंटेलिजेंस, जो दिल और दिमाग यदि मिल जाए, तो दिल से सोचें या दिमाग से सोचें, ये बड़ा कठिन हो जाता है। मैं अब लास्ट अपने रिटायरमेंट के उससे दौर से गुजर रहा हूं, लेकिन पिछले 3-4 साल कोरोना के टाइम से शुरुआत करी है हैप्पीनेस की ओर जाने की, क्योंकि और टाइम तो काम में लगे रहे, नहीं हो पाया, नहीं कर पा रहा हूं। और इन दिनों में तो विशेष रूप से जो फिजिकल भी प्रॉब्लम वेट बढ़ जाने के कारण हो गई है। तो ये आप शुरू करा है आपने, ये बहुत अच्छा है। इस 1 घंटे में बिल्कुल अलग हो जाते हैं, कुछ इंग्लिश के समुंदर में से कुछ मोती मिल जाते हैं। तो उसके लिए धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार।
पीयूष जी, एक बात
कोशिश
समझिए,
की जाए
हैप्पीनेस
हिंदी में भी हो
आप
जाए।
कहीं नहीं मिलेगा। हैप्पीनेस सिर्फ आपके अंदर है और कहीं नहीं है। तो आप काम करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं, आप हैप्पीनेस को कहीं नहीं ढूंढिए। आंख बंद कीजिए और स्माइल कीजिए, आपका हैप्पीनेस आपके पास ही है।
थोड़ा सा हिंदी में जरूर 5 मिनट का कर दिया करिए। लास्ट का 2 मिनट, 3 मिनट, 5 मिनट का।
मैं कोशिश करेगा।
Kalpana ji has to say something.
I had a small thing to talk about. You were talking about anger, and we should never get angry. As parents, it is our role to guide the children. So many a times we need to show anger in some form, I believe, so that they can be put on the right path, or they can be guided to the right path. So in those cases, it may be that we are keeping our anger in our control, but we still show some anger. So what is your opinion on this?
If you think as a parent, anger is required in certain situations, it is justified, provided it is short-lived and momentary, and it does not continue, that mood of anger does not continue for long. It should be only for that occasion, that moment where it is necessary in order to bring about harmony in your children. Or I wouldn't use word discipline because that's terrible word. There is no discipline. Only the children, what happens? We were children ourselves in one time, right? We were all children. What happened when our parents got angry on us? What happened? Did we improve? Did we change? Did we? Basically, the relationship between parents and children, you like it or not, most of the time it is parents who expect children to behave in certain manners or eat at certain time, eat something that you want them to eat. And when the children do not agree, there is anger as a parent. As a parent, you think certain food is important, certain quantity is important, certain timing is important. But this is all perception of parents. Put yourself into childhood. If child is not hungry, or child is not hungry so much that you eat so much as parent offer, the child will not accept it. And the parent, as your emotions are disturbed, and therefore you get angry. Okay, I can understand, but that anger should restrict, that should get over right there and there. You carry on with that feeling of anger, becomes your nature. So you have to be conscious, you have to be aware that I want my personality to be of an angry person, or the person with love and affection and cool. Whenever it's absolutely necessary, of course, you do get upset and get angry maybe, but that must be very short-lived. And in your awareness, you must be aware of it. Not that it is happening by itself automatically. If there is an anger, outburst of anger, automatically, yes, without your being aware, that is the reflection of your personality. Do not allow that. Be aware that you are angry. You become anger and clear it off right there, whether it is one sentence or one particular episode. Do not carry forward. Also, when you are in that mood of being angry, it can be extremely positive and productive. Your anger can be very positive and productive. You remember, all of you know the story of Gandhiji when he was thrown out of the compartment in Africa. He was furious. He was angry because he was rightfully traveling in the compartment with his ticket, and yet he was thrown out of it. So he was angry. But that anger turned out, that was the turning point of his life. And therefore, he brought about the liberation of millions of people. Yeah, that anger become positive and productive. So you can work on your anger, your greed, your lust, your fear, all those areas that you can work upon. And it's possible that it may take time. It took 20 years or more for me to talk about it. It's not easy. And I still have to work on something else. So the purity takes time, but it is necessary. It is very necessary.
Acharya, on another forum platform last weekend, we were discussing addictions. And probably I would like you to throw light on that. Now, there is a form of happiness at the end of it, although it may be self-destructive. So how does one overcome that?
Please remember it, and we'll talk this on Tuesday, next
That's
Tuesday.
right. Yeah, let's keep that as a
Put
topic.
this on a group,
I'll do
just this last sentence that you talked, and that from that we will continue.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
सबको प्रणाम, दृश्यमान और अदृश्यमान सभी लोगों को प्रणाम।
Asato ma
ओ
satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, God, for giving us air to breathe.
Thank you, God,
Thank you,
for
God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us sun for energy. Thank you, God, for giving us food to eat. Thank you, God, for giving us good health and happiness. Thank you, God, for giving us positivity.
Thank you, God, for giving
Thank you, God, for giving us all that we need.
Thank you, God, for giving
Thank you, God, for giving us your love, protection, guidance, blessings. Thank you, God, for the existence. Thank you for giving me a chance to serve you.
Thank you, God, for giving us chance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you, प्रणाम आचार्य सभी लोगों को प्रणाम.
Wish you all the way. Good day.
We meet on Thursday now.